in the name of the law.
Optimizing companions can be a bit of a confusing process in the Outer Worlds. I've been doing a playthrough of a leadership character where my companions are doing all the heavy lifting, and I started to figure out that a lot of things the game just doesn't explain to you very well. Here I'll be showing you everything you need to know to make sure your companions are set up to be stat-boosting death machines. My name is Dustin Duran, and this is the Outer Worlds Ultimate Companion Guide. First off, I will not be showing you how to get companions or completing their quest lines. This will be getting into the nitty-gritty of their stats and crunching the numbers. Second off, being in your ship seems to negate your leadership benefits, so to get true values with your companions, check the stats outside of your ship. The first thing you want to pay attention to is their behaviors, the distance, the weapon, and the mode. We'll start off with mode. For the most part, you're going to keep the mode on aggressive, which is the default. The only time you might want to switch it to passive or defensive is if you're doing stealth builds. Otherwise, keeping it on aggressive is good. Now with the distance and the weapon, that's going to depend on the character. So if your character is going to have a melee weapon or some heavy weapon like a flamethrower, you want to keep this at close. Otherwise, most weapons keep at medium, and then maybe your sniper rifles keep it at far. And that applies for the same thing with a weapon. Most of the time you do not want to do mixed, just either do melee or ranged. And whether you want them at melee or ranged is going to depend a lot on their ability. So with Nyoka's ability, that will put her at a medium or long range. So you can keep this distance at a medium or far range and keep this weapon at ranged. But someone like Parvati, her ability puts her right up next to the enemy. So for her, it makes sense to keep her with a melee weapon and keep her at close range. So for optimization with their abilities, you want to keep Ellie at a medium or far range, keep Felix at a close range with melee weapons, Nyoka with medium or long at range, Parvati close with melee, Vicar Max you could have him at close with melee, or you could keep him medium with ranged. And Sam, keep him close with close range. And as a note, the ability damage is set and based on a character's level, so the weapon and stats they have equipped will not affect the ability damage. And now we'll look at the companion's 3 base skills. Normally, the 2 companions that you select to come with you will share 25% of these numbers. Now that can be further increased with Inspiration level 60, well, they'll get plus 100% of that skill bonus, making it 50% of their skill points. That can be increased further with Inspiration 150, where even the companions on your ship will still provide 10% of that skill bonus. Now, through my own playtesting and research, it does not look like the skills outside of the companion's specific 3 affect anything. It certainly does not affect the main character, but it does not appear to affect any hidden companion stats either. So for example, if I equip Nyoka with this armor that gives two-handed melee plus 7, it will not affect her two-handed DPS. Specifically, it will not affect her two-handed melee crit chance. I did some playtesting with this and I did not see any changes. So keep this in mind when you're gearing companions. Meaning, when you're giving your characters gear, make sure that they align with the skills of that character. So choose your equipment based on these 3 skills, or just go straight armor rating. So if you don't care about getting that 1 or 2 points of medical, switch it out with some heavy armor to max out that armor rating. Armor does matter a lot when it comes to keeping yourself and your companions alive. Mods will also affect this. So putting in mods like tech skills plus 5 or adding 3 armor does help out that little bit more. Now when it comes to your carrying capacity, that is normally increased by 10 for each companion. So when you have your 2 companions, your carry capacity will be increased by 20. Now this can be increased with the tier 2 perk Pack of Pack Mules, adding 40 more per companion, meaning traveling with both your companions, this perk gives you plus 100 carrying capacity. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into each companion perk, but with every companion, picking up Healthy for the plus 30% base health is a must. The tier 2 perks can be up to you. With tier 3, if you're doing a companion-based build, getting Spec Ops for the 20% chance to reset ability cooldown, or getting Stonebreaker for the plus 30% companion ability damage. For me personally, if the companion's ability is ranged, I go with Stonebreaker. If the companion's ability is melee, I go with Spec Ops. In tier 4, Echoing Thunder with the plus 20% chance to reset ability cooldown on kill. That's the specific companion's kill. Or Showtime that increases the damage dealt by the companion for a short time after performing their ability. Either one of those are good. And for tier 5, I think Stand Your Ground is the best choice for the plus 3 armor rating whenever they take damage, which can stack up to 3 times. But if you want, you could go with Long Winter, which gives you plus 20% duration of status effects inflicted by their ability. Now, I'm not going to go into each companion's specific perks, but that's going to come down to your own individual playstyle. Now, as we move into weapons, one thing you should know is in the settings, if you go to UI, there's a box, Show Base Item Stats. Now, if this is checked, you will see, as it says, the base item stats. If you have it unchecked, you will see the stats based on your character's skills. So now, if I have this checked, and I look at this machine gun that Nyoka has, it is doing 960 DPS with a base damage of 58. If I uncheck that, it is now at 1406 with a base damage of 44. Now this is where I had to do a lot of playtesting and number crunching. But it seems like each weapon, even between the same types, have varying DPS for the companions. Now with most RPGs, equipping a companion with a weapon will drop its base damage. And that's basically so your companions don't feel more powerful than you are. But in this game, that drop in base damage does vary even between each individual weapon. Now first, just looking at the base damage of this flamethrower, which is a heavy weapon, going from 38, equipping it, and going down to 26. That is about 68.42% of the base damage. Now looking here at the grenade launcher, which is also a heavy weapon, the base damage here is 247 when I equip it. It is now 183. That is about 74.09% of the base damage. And the same thing happens with DPS. So this flamethrower has a base of 537. When I equip it, it goes to 711. That is a 32.4% increase in DPS. But now if I go to the grenade launcher, which has a base of 412, I equip it, that's now 589 DPS, and that is an increase of 42.96%. Now I ran those numbers with all of these weapons, including these melee ones, and I did the same thing with Nyoka. Now for me, those numbers are going to be based around my inspiration, and that 111.8% bonus to companion damage. But those differences in percentages, even of the same class, is pretty confusing, and I could not find a correlation. Now my guess is that it's based around the weapon's level, seeing as this flamethrower was level 12 and this grenade launcher is level 19. Meaning, as you increase the level of a weapon, it's going to increase its base damage and its DPS on a curve. All that being said though, my advice, uncheck that show base item stats, and just equip your companions with your highest DPS weapons. Whether that's going to be a ranged weapon or a melee weapon. And companions do not use ammo, so high rate of fire weapons, like this light machine gun, are a pretty good choice.
Sanitization incoming!
You want some of this?
And that's it from me. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and/or subscribe. Take care, everybody.